Seems I'm actually on time for once. I'm usually on time. Just the last few days. Okay, got water. All that junk. Got squeaky microphone positioning. We got everything. Oh. That thing that's not working right. Yeah, that should be fine. Hey, people. People of the world. Anyone who shows up. Etc., etc. What was I doing? We know Edgeworth was at the scene of the crime. It kind of makes sense because they were doing the evidence transferal stuff. But the fact of the matter is that he was there a little before the killing happened. And when you know Bruce Goodman's card was used at 5:14. I don't know if we actually had to be in here for any reason. What was I trying to do here? Can we talk to Edgeworth yet? Can we talk to anyone here? Oh yeah, I was trying to get him to show me his ID, but he wasn't. I guess we'll just present to him everything and see if he says anything about it. Do you think you could take a look at this? Yeah, he told them. We got this story before. I wanted him to tell me what his ID number was, though. Because his ID number should be the one that came in after Bruce Goodman, right? We'll just show him everything else, just in case. Yeah, I don't think it'll be important at all. He doesn't want to look at the scene. I'm pretty sure I just showed that to him anyway. What about this knife? Okay, so it's the same thing, both knives. Oh yeah, I didn't properly examine this, did I? That could have been the problem. Hey, look! They're hard to make out, but there are some dark red stains here. Ah, looks like blood. Do you think Detective Goodman's blood somehow got on this when he was stabbed? Not likely. His blood looks like it's been here for months, maybe longer. His jaw was evidence in the SL9 incident. That might be when the blood got on it. Huh? This thing doesn't have a bottom. That's weird. I wonder which side is up. Better yet, what's the purpose of a bottomless jar? At least it doesn't collect dust inside it, right? I mean, it would need a bigger butt. From the things on the side, it looks like almost like a trophy or something. Could I have missed blood anywhere? This looks like a clay plot, but it has blood on it. Well, it seems like Officer Meekins here doesn't got anything for us. Why don't we just ask her? Well, where should we begin? Oh, well, isn't it obvious? We should begin with that, you know, that thing. The mystery of the victim, I guess. How could one man, Detective Goodman, be killed in two places simultaneously? Oh, well, you see... We should go to the police department. The evidence room, was it? I'm not being very useful here, am I? No, you're being very helpful. Ellipses. I bet you'd be pretty happy with the King of Attorneys shield too, huh? We defense attorneys are scattered, unrecognized bunch. Still, I wonder why the trophy shield is broken. It is pretty odd, huh? I doubt it has anything to do with the case, though. That means it probably has something to do with the case. That's usually what that stuff means. Ugh. Nah, she doesn't care about that. I just kind of want to see if she cares about any of this. Miss Sky used her phone right after the murder. She called you, right? But she hung up right away. And it was a bad connection. I couldn't hear anything. Because it was underground parking lot, I suppose. She did say something about a muffler, but got cut off. This photograph... Miss Starr must have been seeing things. And for photographing things? As proved, Miss Sky was there at the scene of the crime. She's connected to the crime somehow, but how? Didn't care about that? Why would this have been in the car's exhaust pipe? It's evidence from an old case, right? Right, the SL9 incident. It was already solved, apparently. This knife was stolen on the day of the evidence transfer. Maybe I should look into this SL9 incident. I was wondering if we could see the desks that he was supposedly at. But it doesn't look like it. He's mumbling something to himself. I know, the killer used a cassette tape. What a crafty trick, that gunshot was a fake. This is good. No one will expect a cassette tape in this day and age. He's not writing a report, he's writing a novel. What? That's kind of funny. Writing his fan fiction. Babes in uniform. Calendar. Yeah. Badger thing. We already heard about that. No badger is still withering. Oh, he's still withering around. Yeah. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt and say he's dancing. Speaking of dancing, the whole police department has been dancing around like crazy since yesterday. Can I take out the batteries? I just can't help but feel he's going to do something naughty. What? I feel like he's going to be the killer. I thought that handprint might be a blood print, but, no? I was sure they were gonna do something like that. That would've been funny. I don't think there's any blood around here, though. Yeah, it doesn't appear. Doesn't appear like it. I'll just go to the guard station again. Yeah, can we talk to you about anything else? Can we show you this thing? No, you don't care about it. What if we show you this? No, you don't care about it. I was wondering if we could get his ID. You might have something to say about the evidence, so I guess we'll just look. I doubt you'd have anything to say about most of this stuff, though. Unless Detective Gumshoes is the one we have to talk to right now, still. Oh yeah, does he know about the lost and found thing? No. I figured we would go, oh, the lost and found thing, he lost his ID card, so someone stole it. I thought we would do something like that. It looks like right now we might want to be able to get into that evidence locker. You'd think you would care more about the SL9 stuff. Maybe you'll say something about my badge. No. I guess you don't care about that stuff. Yeah, we already went over that stuff. Are we just supposed to assume the other thing is his card? I don't think we have anything to do with him, then. So there has to be something in the evidence room we're missing, right? What if we show him the trophy? We haven't shown him the trophy yet, I don't think. You might know why the shield's broken, right?
Hey, that's it! That's the King of Prosecutors award that Mr. Edgeworth got the other day.
Why are you at the awards ceremony, Detective Gumshoe?
Of course, pal. I got the award for diligence myself.
Congratulations. I was wondering why is the award a shield? And why is it broken?
Oh, there's a reason. I'll tell you what it is later. You can't open the lockers if your fingerprint doesn't match. If you can open it, they'll give you 50 cents.
Note, the police department lacks faith in its lock system.
After all, Detective Goodman was stabbed here after opening his locker. But at the same time, he was found dead over in the prosecutor's office.
So, is there a trick that we could do to possibly open it? I thought we were gonna do something like fingerprints, but we only have a bottle to tell what with the ID crud. Did we show this to him?
Could you take
a look at this? This is the ID card record for people who came in here the day of the stabbing.
I heard the rumors, so it was Goodman. What?
Oh yeah, he told us. He told us about Edgeworth, right? He didn't tell us more about that though. Does he know about this thing? No, he doesn't. About this?
Detective Goodman's note and that switchblade knife. I bet Edgeworth was the most surprised of anyone.
Because of the SL9 connection?
That was Mr. Edwards' first big case, 2 years ago. That was the first time the world knew Edgeworth was a man to be feared.
But why would evidence from that case turn up now?
I guess it's not over, pal. Maybe there's some loose ends left on that case. That's the photo Miss Starr took.
Anything you can tell us about it?
And Miss Starr's quite the lady. Why, I remember it was winter. I was 16. She was the only one who ever got me to talk about what happened.
16? That's how old I am. I wonder what happened. I wonder if Detective Gumshoe wore a trench coat in high school, too. I know we asked him about the Blue Badger paint stuff, but did we ask him about it directly? I think he brought it up again before. Like, I think this is dialogue is the same from the last time we talked to him, though. Okay, he looks at both the note and blade anyway. So that part doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. Masterpiece.
There were a lot of people going on after the ceremony, so they took the Blue Badger away for a while.
Really? Why?
They said it was shameful or something like that. Shameful. I toil night and day.
I sympathize with Detective Gumshoe, but I can see why they moved it. Them moving it might actually be important, too.
Found Mr. Edgeworth's car stabbed with Mr. Edgeworth's knife, huh? What would drive Chief Prosecutor Skye to do such a thing?
Yeah. Said that stuff before. You want to see my attorney, Jen? Detective, here's my attorney's badge.
You show that to me every time we meet. Real men show their police badge, enough said.
I wish I had a badge. Even my ID card would be nice. Now Detective Gumshoe looks sad. Oh wait, we can talk to him now about it?
No, that was a bloody violent case.
Violent? So it was a murder?
A serial killing.
A serial killing? I mean, I don't want to get involved in this after all.
But the killer made a mistake and Mr. Edgeworth built his case around that to nab it.
And this was 2 years ago.
Then put Mr. Edgeworth right in the spotlight and started the rumor mill.
Rumor? About forged evidence?
It was supposed to be all cleaned up with the transferal the other day. It was the last job he ever did. Detective Goodman, that is.
Huh? What do you mean?
Detective Goodman was the detective in charge of the SL9 incident, see?
So the switchblade knife... The victim took the knife out of the evidence locker himself. I think we might have gotten all the information we could get. I don't believe I missed anything else.
Gross.
Lovely voice. Oh yeah, the door. That's the door we just came through. Looks like you don't need an ID card to get out. I wonder what would happen if Officer Marshall cut the power while we were inside. Let's hope he remembers we're in here. That's an interesting thing to say, though. I don't think the electricity was out when we were in there, though. I think now we might be able to go here? No. When is Edgeworth gonna come back? We need to talk to him to advance the actual story. But he isn't around. We got more information, but that still wasn't good enough. Am I missing a spot of blood then? It's the only thing I can really think of. But I don't know. figured we'd see blood on, like, the ID reader or something, but we don't even see it there. I thought he would let us look at the footage, too. Oh. Blood on the cactus. Wow, we got a reaction.
Ah, there's clearly blood around the spines here. This room's pretty messy. Someone must have tripped over something and planted their head right here in these spines.
I think that might be more painful than being murdered.
Does that part matter? I don't think that part matters.
Did we miss blood somewhere? I feel like I got all the blood spots that I could get. Just spray and pray. Slide. Nothing on the saw blade. I feel like the evidence locker is important, but we don't know how to get inside of it. What else are we missing? That's all I want to know. Oh, I can check this. I don't know why I can check.
Excuse me.
We can look at the locker, but we can't do anything with it. Yeah, there I got that point. Kinda check my attorney badge. This is what the back of the badge looks like. And I always thought it had a safety pin.
Each badge has a number carved into it. That way you can tell which attorney it belongs to.
You mean you couldn't lend your badge to anyone?
No, I'd be found out right away.
Well, that's no fun.
Yeah, sure. I guess. Do attorneys actually have badges? I don't know. I mean, I assume they have some form of identification. We already looked at this junk. I always assumed that they were just gonna say, it's because they broke the shield. They broke through the defense of the unjust attorney. Oh. Yeah, we heard that part too. What could they want me to do?
I need a fingerprint to get into the locker. I need Edgeworth to come back so I can question him in general. There's a lot of things I can do. I need to show these guys the ID list to get their ID is on here. But no one's telling me about that. I don't know who to show the lost and found thing to. So where do I go? Do I have to talk to someone else again? I literally showed them everything I could. So I either missed something somewhere, or this game is thinking on a higher level than me. Or a very bad level. Or Mr. Edgeworth. I know you're going through a tough time, Worthy. What with all these rumors? You were even in the defendant's chair just this past December. There was that business with him not reading that officer's report. Nah. About the killing in the police department, right? The chief of police was right about that, but I can't help but think someone at the police department doesn't like Edgeworth. Like, the chief of police. Do you say anything about this? No. You want to talk about these? Did she talk about the ID list? No. Oh wait, she was in the SL9 case. Did we show her the vase? Oh my god. I hate this game. I already know what to do to advance. Why can't you just let me advance? Why does it have to have the specific thing? Life was in the case of the murder. It was due to transferal of the Goodman's Guild. Because I expect us, S-line line isn't over, not yet. Yeah, we already know about that. But why aren't you telling us more? Did you say anything about the trophy? No. How? That looks like a petrified piece of provolone. Huh? It's not. It's my attorney's badge. I think a petrified piece of provolone would fetch more on an open market. Look, my badge isn't up for sale. Not yet, at least. What am I missing? I'm missing something. I didn't mean to hit it like that, actually. I didn't want to present. This. I feel like if there was any other blood I missed, though, I would notice. Thought we might see blood on the fence or something, but it wasn't. Yeah, they made it seem like the body was in here and was thrown out somehow or something. And that the only one that was actually bleeding was Lana. She didn't wash away the blood, she just threw a basket of water. A basket of water? Yeah. One whole basket of water. So that's where Miss Starr saw the incident from. You can probably see quite a lot from up there. You can probably see quite a lot from up there, huh? That was probably means she wasn't lying when she said she saw Miss Skye stab him.
Where's the security guard anyway?
Well, this is just something I heard, but apparently he went out to buy coffee for Miss Star.
That woman is a force to be reckoned with, making people not do their jobs. You know that someone's life could literally be at stake if the murderer came back to the scene of the crime. We won't talk about that part. It's okay.
So this is the famous divider.
It sure helped us knock a hole in that testimony today. Come to think of it, this divider helped our case more than the actual witness.
The Great Divider. A chip off the old parking block.
It's just a wall, scientifically speaking. Huh?
Can we look at the exhaust pipe itself? That's about as red as a sports car can get.
Yep, it's pretty red, alright. Body was found in Edgeworth's trunk, and the lock on the trunk was broken, too. So the question is, why did Miss Sky choose this car?
So what model car is it?
I think it's called a sedan, or coupe, or something like that.
Those are car types, Mr. Wright, not models. You're a guy, aren't you? Mr. Wright, you're supposed to know these things.
Maybe it's about time I got my driver's license.
That's where we found that note.
2-21 SL9. The SL9 incident.
A case that was due for transferal the day of the murder.
And the detective in charge of the case was the victim.
I wonder what kind of case this SL9 incident thing was.
It's kind of hard to guess just knowing the case number. We already know it was a serial killing now, though.
A block, this area is reserved for prosecutors.
Defense attorneys are regulated to B block.
I dream of the day when I will be able to park my car here. I'll go over to B block to buy my hamburgers from you, Mr. Wright.
I'm not planning on giving up my job that soon.
Yeah, he's gonna become a hamburger driver. There you go. I feel like I searched literally everything I could. But apparently they want me to exhaust literally all my options, so I guess that's what I'm gonna have to do. Oh... Unless Edgeworth's here. Is there something in Edgeworth's Alphos I missed? I guess I could just click on everything again. No, it's the same stuff from before. Same stuff from before. Same stuff from before. Same stuff from before. Same as before. I'm surprised we didn't say that Lana could have possibly came up here and be bleeding already. Don't see anything that could be important here. It looks like we checkmarked everything, so literally nothing there. Just go through all of it again, really quick. You heard all that. She doesn't care about that. We shoot her the knife and note already. She doesn't care about that. I don't know why she would care about the blood detector.
That time? What? She doesn't care about that. What do you care about, lady? Told us about the phone. Does she care about the autopsy report for some reason? No. She doesn't care about the blue badger. She didn't care about Edgeworth parking. We asked her about the ID. We asked her about... Well, actually, did we ask her about the normal knife? We tried to ask her about this, but she didn't say anything either. Yeah, I'm pretty sure... Yeah, that's literally all our options. So I searched literally everything in Edgeworth's office and in the parking lot. About time to go through this. Officer Meekins, have a look at this.
Go ahead, sir. Laugh at me.
Ha ha ha.
I know what you want to say. You're gonna tell me how she has one just like it. Me? Why would I? I know, sir. I know I'm the only one without a girl. Matching badges. Nowhere. I'm alone. I'm alone. Is that so wrong? Life is all about school sweethearts and youth romances.
Is he talking about those badges on her coat? I'd like to think there's a difference between my badge and a fashion accessory. Well, let's show him everything. He's afraid of knives. Doesn't care about that. Doesn't care about that. Doesn't care about the autopsy report. He doesn't care about the memo. He doesn't know anything about SL9. He doesn't care about the cell phone saying muffler. No comment on the parking lot. He doesn't care about the vase. You would think he would have saw it. Doesn't care about the evidence locker. Doesn't care about the floor plans where he found the blood. Doesn't care about his own ID to get into the evidence lockers. Doesn't care about that. Doesn't care about that. Doesn't care about the shoe.
Hey, what do you have? That's...
From the day it was taken in the prosecutor's office. Did we show him this? I don't remember.
That day, the Detective Goodman's body was found in the trunk. So that means... This means I'm a free man. Innocent. If this is a dream, sir, then I hope I never wake up.
If this is a dream, you better wake up right now.
Huh?
Maybe. Maybe just out of curiosity. No. We can't do it to him. I just thought to look. Okay, we saw everything we could possibly see there. You know, just for the gag. No random pieces of blood here. Huh. I could have sworn they would do something at the office to just randomly show blood as a gag. Literally no reason for me to do this, but... Might as well look just in case. Literally saw everything there. I feel like I jumped into a movie. Yeah, she talked about that already too. Normal stuff there. Nocturnal patrolmen are saluting each other. He must be a detective. How many fingers do you see? Sorry, I don't know. Oh. It wasn't a salute, it was an eyesight test. Of course. Is there anything else I can examine here? Anything here? Yeah, none of these things have anything. Where do they want me to go? Exhaust all of your options and still find nothing. I guess did I search for blood here? Don't really know why I would need to search for blood here, but never know. Yeah, there's nothing here. Doesn't care about that. We already did this part. We had him show us that he came in. We got that. Yes, we already got that part. Show this list to other people with IDs here. No one cares. Doesn't care. I might be able to make him say something if I examine his stuff, maybe? I don't think I examined his stuff when he was actually here. I don't think he would say anything of worth. I don't know why we couldn't get him to show us the videotape. Yeah, he literally doesn't care about any of the evidence. Doesn't care about that. We already showed him that other thing. Doesn't care about this. Doesn't care about the evidence lockers. And even though that he worked on this case, he doesn't care about the safe. I mean the thingamabob. Doesn't care about our attorney badge either. What a jerk.
This cactus sure is prickly. It must be real.
Best you keep your distance from Billy there. You're liable to get hurt. Billy? The cactus has a name?
Billy, you're wearing your cowboy hat on your hand.
Nah, my rawhide calfskin 10-gallon hat. I just picked that up. Billy took a fancy to it. Looks like it got stuck on the spines and he couldn't get it off. Huh? Yeah, maybe he says something.
A leather jacket, leather pants, and leather...
Those are pants. those are chaps, and that's Poncho up there.
Aha! A poncho. Sure looks cool, but the name's a little silly. You sure have a lot of monitors in here.
There's 8 cameras in the evidence room in all. One for each section.
Which monitor shows which section where the crime took place?
Why do cattle sit before the rains come? It's not for a man to know.
Unless you're the security guard responsible.
So he doesn't even know?
Look at this swinging door, just like a saloon at Wild West.
Ah, sorry, partner, but we're closed for the day. Ah? Y'all going home now.
I think Dr. Marsh really wanted to be a Wild West bartender.
I always wanted to say that.
Look on the floor, it's a lasso.
Ah, looks like it's a trap or something. I just rode me a steer with this here lasso.
What?
It was bellowing when moo, pal, moo. Detective Gumshoe, I presume. The evidence room is beyond that door. I turned on the card reader. Go have yourself a ball, partners.
And I have the ID card, a real ID card.
Let's get this investigation started already. Yeah, we already did. I exhausted all my options here now. There's literally nothing I can do here. So there must be something I missed here, right? I feel like we showed him that. We showed him this. We showed him the knife. Showed him the parking tickets, showed him the autopsy report, we showed him badger thing. Showed him that. He doesn't care about that. Showed him that. He doesn't care about that. We showed him the thing for Edgeworth. Showed him that. Showed him that.
Oh.
I showed him this before, right? Okay, so I literally showed him everything now, too. I've shown everyone literally everything that I possibly could show. There's literally no other options, unless I can use this now. If you put these pieces together, it makes a jar.
There are two things that bother me. One, why are some of the pieces missing? Two, doesn't it seem a little unstable? No wonder it broke.
I'll make sure to remember it next time I make a jar.
Someone left a glove here, but only one.
Detective Gumshoe, maybe? There you go, pal, making me out to be some kind of absent-minded detective. That's the evidence from the case, you know. You mean the SL9? It does have a tag on it. Oh, I guess this is what I missed. I thought I tried looking at the glove before, but it didn't let me do it. Hey, pal, look at the time. What, was there something you needed to be doing? It's just that Mr. Edgeworth's inquiry committee should be letting out soon. I'm gonna give them my report for the day. What? Restaurant? Might help, you know.
Huh? Report? You mean the note written on the back of that flyer?
The one that said nothing but no problems? Hey, it's Mr. Edgeworth we're talking about. I'm sure he can use a report like this. I believe in him. And he's enemies when he got friends like Detective Gumshoe. I'm off, pal. Later. Well, that took forever. I should probably see what Edgeworth has to say, too. Well, at least I figured that out. Wrong place. Now, brother. No, guess. My apologies. Oh, it's you. Have we met somewhere? Nah. Mr. Edgeworth, I beg your leave so long. Is Edgeworth here?
There, standing by the window, a teacup in his hand.
Uh-huh. Right. Is the hotel bring him tea service?
Mr. Edgeworth, you're back from the district prosecutor's office inquiry.
I am. By the way, Detective Gumshoe was looking for you. Ah, yes, he brought me the latest information, it seems.
Really? Was it helpful?
Apparently a new fresh restaurant is opening near here. I think he was trying to console me somehow. The real info is on the other side, Edgeworth.
Poor Mr. Edgeworth. I think this whole thing is really taking a toll on him.
So let's get to business. So, how'd the inquiry committee go? Actually, they decided to treat this not as a case of concealing evidence, but as a communications error during the investigation.
Concealing evidence?
Yes, apparently there are some who believe that I concealed evidence. They gave me a warning. You were lucky this time. Again. Again. I've heard them say that so many times. Ever since that case 2 years ago. Are you okay for the trial tomorrow? Well, I'm still a proceeding prosecuting attorney, however. Something happened? They gave control of the investigation over to the police department.
The police department?
Yes, any further investigation for this case will be directed by the Chief of Police, Gant. I can do nothing but wait for his results. I see.
Why? I ask you why.
All along, I've done only what I believe is right. I have nothing to be ashamed of. But this... Wow, I've never seen him this out of sorts. So why is the blood on your floor? Can we ask about that? No? Fine. I'll show you this instead. Oh, right. I better check this now. As I was saying, What's this? A record ID card usage? Edgeworth, you went into the evidence room that day, didn't you? Just before the incident occurred, no less. Yes, that's true.
Well, why, Mr. Edgeworth?
Please don't look at me like that. I was asked to go, by Chief Gant, no less.
The chief of police?
He wanted evidence for the case that wrapped up half a year ago. He told me he wanted to keep it here in the prosecutor's office. But it was solved, right? Would have to be if the evidence was already filed. The chief is never one to explain himself. In any case, on the day of the stabbing, I brought this back here.
Can I ask you what kind of case it was?
I can't say. It really has nothing to do with the current case. I'm curious about this other case. I better make a note of it. Past case Edgeworth brought back to his office by Gant's request. So did Gant. Is Gant the murderer? Is the chief of police the murderer? Stubborn as always, I told you this has nothing to do with the current case. Hmm. He doesn't want to talk about that stuff, though.
Oh, cute. What a pretty tea set.
I go for more instant tea bags myself.
Amazing. They're durable fielded tea leaves. They're all sorted in place for origin and flavor. Look at this royal blend. What a splendid concoction.
Such a thing as a hobby too far. Okay, Edgeworth didn't even talk to that. Just out of curiosity, since he's here now, can I talk about this when he's here? Or nah? I guess it's not important to the case. Well, we got a new piece of evidence, and we have the rubber glove, too. I don't think he's going to tell us more about anything else, though. She's not around. Interesting. You know about this? You know about this? Might have to see if we can talk to Chief Gant again. It doesn't look like we can. Can we talk to you again? Then we probably can show Edgeworth something if nothing's happening around here. Still can't look at that stuff, though. Odd. Texas. No, wait. I hate when I press the wrong place to get to. I guess they wanted us to talk to Edgeworth more. Yeah, Edgeworth, we're just gonna show you all of our evidence really quick and see if you say anything. I showed you this, right? I showed you the glove too, right? I showed him the screwdriver. I showed him the ID lock. Showed him that. Showed him the ID thing. Showed him that. I know you probably got a hold of some information, right? It all has to do with that case you were on, the SL9 incident, and some dark suspicion you were wrapped in. You're the man who revived the worst memory of my life. I figured I'd be telling you about this sooner or later. You must be talking about his father's murder in the elevator. Okay, Edgeworth, why don't you tell me about it? Tell me the truth. The SL9 incident was a heinous serial killing case. Led in the investigation was the Deputy Chief of Police at the time, Damon Gant. That wacky old coot was involved in the case 2 years ago too, then? He was a top officer, and it was my first time working with him. I was nervous.
Wow, you get nervous too, Mr. Edgeworth?
What I want to know is why the Deputy Chief of Police on the investigation. In truth, I used a slightly more extreme methods than normal. We were dealing with a vicious murderer. If I let him go, the blood would be on my hands. We won our guilty verdict, and the killer was executed. Wait, you didn't... Of course not. I didn't touch the evidence. Yes, I'll do anything in my power to win a trial. However, I do have a code, and I follow it faithfully. By the way, Emma, the chief prosecutor wanted to know something.
My sister? What?
If you were still studying forensic science...
Huh? Yes, of course. Why, just today, Mr. Wright and I were using this.
The testing fluid, huh? Well then, you might have use for this. The fingerprint stuff? Okay, we are going to use that. I was wondering. Aluminum power for taking fingerprints? It's been chemically treated for better adhesive. For me? Are you sure? We are the enemy, you know. I've no say in today's investigation, do as you will. Edgeworth, I'm really... No need to thank me. Here, take your powder and these fingerprint files for everyone involved. Thanks. How about giving these to Detective Gumshoe as well? Yeah, but he needed a real detective. It's okay. Well, let's get going. One last investigation. Right. You seem to remember seeing a suspicious handprint somewhere. Suspicious handprint. I already know the handprint that was suspicious. They let me look at it, but I can't examine it in any way. Oh yeah, we didn't actually look at the glove, did we? These look similar to the gloves that, what's-her-face could have been wearing. The tag says SL9, 11. I guess this is another piece of evidence from the case. You know, I never did care for the word tag. It's confusing. Huh? What's so confusing about that? You know how many other words sound like that? Bag, gag, nag, lag, zag? Zag. Is that a word? Do you challenge me? What are we playing? A word game now? This isn't a word game. This is real life. Can I take your prints? Right, please. I'm the prosecutor on the case. You don't expect me to sit here and just... I don't expect you to get the case, but I expect to take your fingerprints. We didn't see a handprint around here. It was only in the scene of crime. No, I was wondering if we could take the handprint from the Blue Badger. Get Detective Gumshoe out of the way. Anyways, let's go do the real thing. February 23rd. Evidence room, Sector 3. Our investigation turned up a suspicious handprint. Here, it's the blood. On the detective's evidence locker. Let's use the secret weapon we just borrowed. Boom. Right, let's get started. First, choose a fingerprint. A finger? Each finger leaves behind a slightly different handprint. So let's choose the finger that will have left behind the clearest print. Well, it's either the index finger or the thumb. I really can't tell the difference at a glance. Quit procrastinating and choose a finger. The thumb's usually the easiest. Okay, now it's time to check for prints. Let me show you how that's done. Now we're starting to get the sparkle in our eyes. First we sprinkle the aluminum powder around. Huh? How do you do that? With the A button, see? Looks like that did the trick. The aluminum powder adheres completely to the print. Once the powder is well spread, just blow away the excess. How do I do that? So on the DS, you're supposed to go? Or whatever. They had games like that use the microphone. Imagine blowing candles out. See? On a birthday cake, see? Wow. That looks fun. It might get exciting to use, though. It's fine, it won't go up your nose or anything. You just pour the powder on thick and blow away the extra. Those are the basics of fingerprinting, Mr. Wright. I guess I better give it a try.
You did it. You found one.
But this looks nothing like a fingerprint.
Now that you mention it, I guess it doesn't.
What does it mean?
I think it means we're out of luck.
Out of luck?
The person who left the handprint must have worn gloves.
Don't tell me we've been wasting our time here.
Hey, calm down. That's just the way it goes sometimes, with scientific investigations. But it does seem a shame. While we're at it, why don't we look for other prints?
Other prints?
Looking at the locker door again closely.
Oh, yep, we see the other one.
It seems like there are other prints outside of the bloody handprint as well. Let's see if we can find a clear print.
Fingerprints outside of the blood. Like this? Blah, 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 blah. Just clamp it on. Oh yeah, that looks better. I still need more.
Yay! A print. So clear it's dazzling.
Dazzling?
Anyway, this print took a lot of effort. Find. Let's match it up right away.
So we're not done yet. This is quite the process.
Well, there's no point in finding a fingerprint and not knowing who the owner is, right?
I guess she's right. Yeah, Edgeworth gave us the ID for the fingerprints.
Look at the fingerprint data we got from Mr. Edgeworth, and point out the person you think left these prints.
Huh? How am I supposed to know who it is?
I can make a pretty good guess. The bloody handprint and the fingerprints are in different places, right? That means the prints probably don't have anything to do with our case. So whose fingerprint would most likely find on this evidence locker?
Comparison complete. It was Gumshoe's locker anyway, so since it wasn't a bloody fingerprint.
Aha! So these prints belong to Detective Gumshoe. Is something wrong, Mr. Wright? You gave me this so what look.
I guess that's probably because I was thinking, so what?
Okay, we came up with nothing this time, but there's always next time. Sometimes you hit, sometimes you miss. You gotta roll with the punches, Mr. Wright.
Thanks for the sympathy. Wait, if I remember correctly, there was one other handprint in this room. Let's check it out.
I need to shave. My beard's starting to bother me. Not as long, it's not too long, but I've usually been trying to shave like every week. But it got a little thicker than that.
This is where we got the aluminum fluid reaction, right?
Right, there was a handprint right here. Okay, wanna try using this?
There go our eyes sparkling again. Okay, let's check for prints.
That's the spirit. Oh, but I have to warn you about something first.
What?
The area with the blood was swiped away, right? The only
We ended up finding it only using chemical means.
any prints that area will have been wiped away too.
Oh, right. So that means no prints.
No, you say the probability of your would you say the probability of your hypothesis is high?
Don't ask me.
Anyway, you must try and find prints that weren't wiped away.
Prints on the ones left by the bloody hand. I mean, they all look pretty wiped away. They're not really giving us a lock-in target. Unless they just did that because they're being nice. Oh. There, like, is something here? I don't see what it's seeing now. It's just going yellow. Okay, I guess. Is it just because we're supposed to be going next to the hand to try and find something else? I want to really get that fingerprint nice and clear. We can break into lockers properly. Yeah. Looks like his. Huh, no match found. Looks similar. Looks similar to me. Hmm. I guess this one looks like his too. I mean, I suspected him of being a killer also, but... Hey, these fingerprints, they...
Who are they? Whose? Is it someone I know?
It's Officer Marshall.
Officer Jake Marshall? The guy that's just outside this room that we probably shouldn't be saying about because he can lock us inside here?
Yeah, that one.
That's got to be a coincidence. He's not involved in the crime.
Emma. This is decidedly different from Detective Gumshoe's prints. The omnium reaction, the blood, and the fingerprints are in the same place.
So
we have Jake Marshall's fingerprints on wiped bloodstains.
But why would Officer Marshall...
Looks like our investigation is finally turning up some results. I guess this is what you would call a decisive evidence.
I don't believe it.
Oh, I thought we were gonna have the power go out and get trapped in here. Turn into an escape room quick. And we have to use the metal detector, fishing rod, and bug thing to escape. February 24th. 9:41 a.m. Why 41? Defendant lobby number 2.
So what do you think, Mr. Wright?
I think the prosecution is as confused as we are. After all,
the late victim was murdered in 2 different places at the same time. And a different suspect was arrested at each of the crime scenes. Lana. Good morning, Mr. Wright. I apologize for yesterday. I was indisposed.
You're hiding your hand behind your back now. I hope they didn't hold you too long for questioning.
We just finished, actually. I'm used to all-nighters, though. So, how did it go? It was as Mr. Wright suspects. The police are clueless. I figured as much, so I struck a plea bargain. A plea bargain? What do you mean by that? We agreed that if I told them the truth behind this simultaneous murder, they wouldn't seek capital punishment. That's what I mean, Emma. But, Lana, don't tell me you... Much to my regret. I'm much in the dark about this as they are. Miss
Sky. We found trace evidence of a certain person in the police department's evidence room. They belong to Officer Jake Marshall.
She lifted up her bloody hand. What kind of trace evidence?
Blood-stained fingerprints, to be exact. That's the trump card I have up my sleeve today. You do understand what this means, don't you?
In order to defend my sister, you're going to excuse Mr. Marshall?
You have to play the cards we're dealt. Isn't that right, Miss Sky?
Do what you have to do, Mr. Wright.
But even if we have that, we still don't know everything. We still need to get inside that locker. Surprised I didn't do that.
The court is now in session for the trial of Miss Nana Sky.
The defense is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution is...
Are you afraid you'll have to clarify?
It takes 30 minutes by car to reach the police department from the prosecutor's office. Yet the victim, Bruce Goodman, was slain at both places at the same time.
But that's not physically possible, is it not? What's more, I hear the victim from the evidence room just disappeared.
Yes, and the body eventually reappeared in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car.
Wow, this is one messed up trial. One of my duties as prosecutor is to present impartial evidence. Today I'll present evidence relating to the murder at the police department. In doing so, I believe the way in which we should proceed will reveal itself.
Now, that's what sets Mr. Edgeworth apart. He sounds so on top of things, even though he doesn't know what's going on himself.
And that's supposed to be an admirable trait.
Very well, let the trial resume. On the day of the crime, what exactly transpired at the police department? Mr. Edgeworth, you may call your first witness to the stand.
Court's first witness the prosecution calls. The suspect of the murder that occurred at the police department.
The suspect? You mean the so-called murderer?
Oh boy. Things are getting wild from the get-go. You're gonna see Officer Meekins. Will the witness please state his name and occupation?
Yes, sir. I'm Officer Mike Meekins, sir. My occupation is, that would be murderer, sir.
Good. So telling us you're a professional killer?
Sir, it was me. I'm the one who did it. I'll never kill anyone again, sir. You gotta believe me, sir.
Actually, would like to hear from you as...
Yes, sir, I'm what you'd call part of the younger generation, sir. A person whose actions adults can't possibly comprehend.
Please, Mr. Edgeworth, help him, sir.
Officer Meekins.
Yes, sir.
Give us your report of the crime. Consider that in order.
Yes, sir, as you wish. After all, I am part of the generation that must be told what to do, sir.
I feel like this is implying something.
You can't fault him for lack of enthusiasm. Though I might take offense to some things he's saying. He looks like he's like 30, though.
Is that like Gen X? I forget which one they're called. Isn't it Boomers, Gen X, and then Millennials? I think it's something like that. I forget. I don't know. Anyway. Are Gen X the one that's under Millennials now? There was Gen Y, it was the... I don't know. They're stupid generation names.
Although it's not my normal duty, I was assigned to guard the evidence room that day. I spotted a suspicious man on the security screen and rushed into the room. I was only doing what I was trained to do, sir. I was suddenly attacked. I fought for my life, then I did it. After that, I passed out until another officer smacked me awake.
And was that Officer Drake Marshall?
So the victim and Detective Goodman, attacked you.
Do unto others before they do unto you. That's the Meekins family motto, sir.
I see, so you fainted and collapsed, and a colleague helped you regain consciousness.
Yes, sir. He knocked me upside the head, sir.
Very well, the defense may begin its cross-examination.
What I need here is more info to work with. Mr. Meekins, you work in the General Affairs Department, do you not?
Yes, sir. I'm in charge of hiring new recruits, sir.
Yikes, now that's a scary thought. evidence transfer was taking place on the day of the crime, which meant many officers were giving special tasks not ordinarily performed.
I was in charge of going the Blue Badger, sir.
The Blue Badger?
Yes, sir, the lovely police mascot created by Chief of Detectives, sir. I wish to ensure it wasn't broken during the transferal process. That was my sole mission for the day.
What?
I see. Sounds like a very important mission. Is he slow?
After the award ceremony, that day there were so many people running around that I relocated the Blue Badger to the evidence room.
Oh, so that's why you went to the evidence room.
Tell us, what did you see when you got there?
I spotted a suspicious man on the security screen and rushed into the room. Yeah.
In order to enter this evidence room, you need an ID card, am I correct?
Precisely, sir. I have one right here around my neck.
So then, your ID number should be listed on here, right?
There it is. I found it. This is the one right here.
Could you please read us the number?
Yes, sir. It's 49895969. Whatever.
I see, huh? But the number 4989596 is shown being used twice. Please explain, witness.
It's no really mystery, sir. The first time is when I relocated the Blue Badger to the evidence room. And the second time is when I went in to go get him after everything settled down.
I see. So it was during the second time when...
Yes, sir. That's when I spotted the man on the security camera. I was only doing what I was trained to do. Yeah. Okay, so we figured out one other thing then.
Huh.
Interesting. But it says that he went in at the same time. Well, let's keep listening. So you were attacked. Can you please tell us exactly what happened to you?
It was a knife, sir. A knife.
Detective Goodman pulled a knife on you? What happened then?
Well, with me charging in on him like that, he looked as surprised as I was.
You're not exactly the kind of person someone would want to run into.
That's when I reacted, sir. I swung my arms like an octopus struggling to detain him. That's how I got this gash on my hand. Maybe if you just kept your cool, and your hand wouldn't be... When I saw the blood trickling down my arm, I panicked. I grabbed this man by his collar.
What exactly do you mean when you said did it?
I know I don't look the type, but I'm really into kung fu films, sir. The man let down his guard for just an instant, so I snatched his knife from him.
You took his knife.
I spun around and performed a disarming maneuver. I made sure to close my eyes like a man.
Ah, I see. Must have been desperate.
The next thing I know, his white coat was drenched in a sea of my blood. And then, the next thing I knew...
Yes?
He punched me right in my face. After that, I passed out.
About what time did you regain consciousness?
No offense, bro, but how am I supposed to know that? I was unconscious.
Oh, right. According to the report, the officer that woke up the witness, it was about 5:30.
He hit me right in the head, too. I woke up crying in tears of pain.
That's nice. I mean, nice that you recovered, that is.
When I came around, though, I made sure to finish my mission, sir.
Your mission?
Yes, sir, the Blue Badger, sir. I returned him to the entrance before things got out of hand.
Well, we can all rest easy now.
I believe we now have a fairly accurate picture of what happened.
Your Honor, only one thing remains unclear. Was this officer murdered really the victim? He's got a point.
Yes, Officer Meekins?
With regard to that, sir, take a look at this. It was sent to my jail cell. Chief Gant delivered it to me just this morning.
The chief delivered it?
What is it? A videotape?
Yes, sir. That's absolutely right, sir. Videotape. Contains footage from the security camera in the evidence room.
What? But I specifically asked. If there was such a tape, and was told it had been mistakenly erased.
That's quite a mistake.
I just do what I'm told, sir. It's the only thing I'm really good at.
Looks like communication with the police department is as good as ever. Man, our whole justice system really sucks, doesn't it? I'm just pouring water really quick. I ran out. Hang on just a sec. Just one sec. Just imagine Phoenix Wright pouring water in the courtroom. That's all it is. Oh, hey Jay. Thanks for the raid, dude.
Well, let's have a look. Show us the video of you murdering the victim.
Oh, please stop using the word murderer, sir. It scares me.
A video of a real murder. Just what are we going to get ourselves into?
And, just trying to solve murders and stuff. Objective? Yeah, objective. A 3D model. This is so weird. 3D models in Phoenix Wright game. I never expected it. Oh! Well, it looks like it was all self-defense. Clearly seems like the man escaped. Or the footage was doctored. Okay, so the trench coat was tossed into that cell. Well,
I believe we're all thinking the same thing. How can we deal with these unsettling feelings stirred within us?
What the heck was that wriggling piece of plywood?
Yes, that is my pride and joy of the Criminal Affairs Department, sir. It's the Blue Badger, sir.
Why am I not surprised? This isn't going smoothly. Security video was added.
Yes, well, anyway, this tape seems to prove that the witness did indeed encounter someone in the evidence room and sort of, actively did take...
Your Honor, instead of relying on the clearly incomplete footage, the witness' testimony will suffice. Is that alright with you, Officer Meekins?
Yes, sir, as you wish.
That face.
His face can't be clearly seen in the video, but there's no question that the other person was Detective Goodman, sir. I mean, he opened the locker, which required Detective Goodman's fingerprint to do. The locker he opened is unquestionably Detective Goodman's locker, sir. So it must be him. No one else could have unlocked it.
What's this about fingerprint?
Each detective has been given a locker equipped with a fingerprint-activated lock. These locks ensure that each locker can only be opened by the detective it belongs to.
Intriguing. That would mean the victim at the crime scene would have to have been Detective Goodman. Very well, the defense may begin its cross-examination.
I don't know where this cross-examination will lead, but everything begins with contradictions. That's where I have to start. Well, I already saw one contradiction. I believe. Did they let me look at that videotape again? Yeah. I can see the contradiction right there. If we look at these lockers, pay attention to the locker on the left, all the way at the end. Locker on the left all the way at the end. There's nothing coming out of that locker all the way there. We see the glove fall to the ground. We don't see the base drop at all. Keep paying attention to the locker all the way on the left side there. Meekins is attacked. Then the stabbing happens. And now, this is when we do not see the person on the camera. But the person knew where the positions of the cameras were. And now when we go back to the locker, all the way on the left, we see a coat is stuffed into it. Anyways, let's grill this guy. Tell me, were you able to get a good look at him? At the face of the man who attacked you with a knife?
Yes, it must be labeled people as having seen or not seen the man's face. I believe I would be classified as the latter.
The latter? But you were standing right in front of him, were you not?
More to the point, you are the person who fought him, aren't you?
Oh, yes, sir, but I didn't get a clear look at his face, sir. I'm not the kind of guy who looks directly at people when talking with them, you see.
Yeah, that's a good trait for a police officer.
Still, I'm sure it was him. I'll bet my badger badge on it.
Wait, are you even a real officer? But you don't know that for sure, do you? You never actually saw Detective Goodman's face.
Well, I suppose you might say that. That is, if you must label people as having seen him.
Since his face can't be identified on the video, only you can verify it.
What? Why is everyone looking at me? If I had labeled your stares as disturbing, or...
Meekins. Having been shown questionable video at best, we are not in the best of moods. Now please be more certain when you testify.
Yes, sir.
You claimed the man who brandished a knife at you was Bruce Goodman. Tell us why you are positive it was him.
Man, I don't know how this will go. Also, I didn't notice the other name, because Jason, yours are like the same color-ish on my stream display thing. But live mocks, yeah, hey to you too. Didn't notice you there. Or rather, I read your message, but I didn't notice the name was different, because it's the same color, even though that they're clearly a different length. Anyway. About these lockers, and the fire alarm going off in the background, is there any other way to open them? No, sir. I myself tried all kinds of methods in the past. They only respond to a registered fingerprints.
I wonder what kind of methods he's tried.
If the man opened the lockers lock, which only responds to registered fingerprint, then he must be the person the assigned locker was assigned to.
Exactly my point, sir. And this too.
How do you know that information?
I've heard rumors, sir, from the people in the know, sir.
People in the know?
The workers in the department cafeteria, sir. They keep me informed. We also listen to my romantic troubles.
For the record, the open locker did indeed belong to Detective Goodman. I verified this information through a more reliable source.
So the victim opened the locker with his own fingerprint.
However, the most important detail is not shown in this video, the man's face.
Sir, if I may say something, sir.
Please do. After all, you are the one who being examined.
I do understand why the man's face is important in this case, sir. I mean, it was his hand that opened it to the fingerprint mark, and it was his hand that tried to thrust the blade into my body, sir. My unsettled state can testify enough to this, sir.
Yes, you have a point. The footage doesn't lie.
That is, unless the defense can find a problem with it.
Mr. Wright, let's check the court record again.
Is there a problem with the security video? Yes, there is. Regarding the video contained on this tape, there is one thing in particular that seems rather strange.
Strange?
The contradiction leads to a possibility that the man may not have been Detective Goodman.
What? This video contains such a contradiction?
Interesting. Your Honor, I have a proposal.
Yes, Mr. Edgeworth?
I propose we have the defense point out to us this alleged contradiction in the video. You would want me to point it out.
Very well. Proposal accepted. Let us further inspect this piece of evidence. I will now play the security tape. Mr. Wright, please show us the contradiction you speak of.
I have to point out the problem in the video. This is the first time I've ever had to do that.
You can do it, Mr. Wright. I've set up so you can fast forward, rewind, or pause the video. Let's take a good look and be sure to point out the right thing.
Thanks. Well, we'll have the CRT monitor. Get ready for that low-grade teaching.
Please don't play it too much. I can't stand watching this video.
Had this guy ever become a police officer?
Now then, Mr. Wright, please enlighten us as to where the contradiction is.
They don't fast forward very fast. Fast forward, rewind, and pause. Yeah, it's amazing. The thing that's strange about this video has got to be this.
That is strange. Something certainly seems unnatural about it. What could it mean?
Sorry to interrupt, Mr. Wright, but you seem to have forgotten the point of this exercise. The point? What you're looking for is one thing and one thing only. Something that indicates the man may not be Detective Goodman. Oh, yeah. Wait, what? Are they going to make... I think they, Did they not let me pick the right thing? Maybe they wanted me to pause it in place. They might have made me, like, hit the blue badger or something dumb like that when it was moving. I don't know. I don't know why that didn't work. They probably wanted me to pause it, though. At least I hope. Unless this just doesn't make sense. I could be getting ahead of myself, but I figured this was it. Oh. I thought that it would prove it, because there was something in another locker. This is why this game can be annoying with the evidence. It's like, how could he be a different person? He opened a different locker, because there's something inside that locker that wasn't there before. So he must have been a different person, because he could open another locker, unless he had two different fingerprints. But they're like, no, you can't say that. That doesn't make sense. Why would that make sense? I don't get why I have to wait for that one. Weird. Well, I guess I have to look for something else in here. I'm not sure what else they actually want me to see then. Oh wait, the light's already on. The thing that's strange's gotta be this, Officer Meekins.
Sir, do you mean me, sir?
As I understand it, the locker apparatus works like this. Do we have to have this music still going? When you grab the handle, a sensor reads your fingerprint if it matches. The light turns on and the lock is released.
According to my very limited experience, that's the way I understand it, sir.
If so, then something's seriously wrong with this picture. Yeah, the light was already on before the guy came. Is the problem.
Are we gonna play the whole video again?
When the victim reaches the handle to open the locker, let's rewind a little earlier.
Oh geez, they're making this take forever. Walking backwards there. Doing the moonwalk.
Boom. Here, notice the light?
What's this? It's already lit.
Yeah, the worst part is them having to play that music constantly. Are we supposed to assume the Blue Badger just makes that music for its battery thing? Did Gumshoe direct that music also?
Precisely my point, Your Honor. The locker was already open before the victim grabbed the handle.
What?
Order, what is the meaning of this?
It's very simple, Your Honor. The locker wasn't locked on the day of the crime. But the locker locks are controlled by an electronic system. When the door is shut, a sensor is triggered, and the locker is automatically locked.
No, I know. It must have been broken down. Of course, I'm not an expert in this.
That's not likely, Your Honor. The sensor would detect and report any malfunction.
Oh, well, it goes to show you novices should keep their mouths shut. So then, Mr. Wright, do you have an explanation?
Me, Your Honor?
Yes, why was the locker locked?
Why wasn't it?
You think their security system just applies the music to everything it captures? Probably.
Me, Your Honor? Yes, well, you see, this isn't exactly my field. What do you think, Miss Scientific Investigator?
Huh? Oh, maybe something like jammed the system sensors?
Something jammed the sensor, you say? There's something else that seems out of place in this video.
Yeah, I thought so too. There's gotta be another clue somewhere in this footage.
Well, let's inspect the video once more. The locker wasn't locked. Mr. Wright, please.
Why did they just make that go really quick? Wait. Did this jam the sensor for some reason? I don't see the bug detector thing here, but I'm not positive. Oh geez, that's terrible. Fast forward. The glove falls out right away. Do they want me to look at that part? We're just looking for something that could jam it right now, though, right? Doesn't have anything on that. The bug sensor thing doesn't show up. So it has to be something else. Do they really want me to just pick on the Blue Badger? Did the Blue Badger somehow break the sensors? Or are we supposed to be looking at the glove? Is he already wearing gloves? Looks kind of like a woman's hand, though.
You're thinking too fancy. Am I thinking too fancy? Do they just want me to click on the blue badger? The thing that's strange about this video would have to be, this.
Hold on a second, I need to use my eye drops. But I don't get it.
Would you mind if I borrowed your eye medicine?
Don't look at me with those dirty eyes.
Okay. That was the joke one. I just thought I would check. Unless now they want me to pick out the shirt for some reason. Unless I'm not seeing something here. I mean, I said I could pick out the glove, the blue badger, or whatever else. I'll just click the glove to see what happens. Please watch closely. This is a continuation of the part I showed you earlier. Okay, I guess they wanted me to show the glove. Oh, they mean by blocking the sensor with the glove. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. I wasn't thinking about that, but I suppose that's the simpler thing. As you say.
What's this? Something white fell out of the locker.
But, sir, it's been my experience that things fall out when doors are open. I often fall out and roll great distances when...
We can't be sure that the item was completely inside the locker to begin with.
What do you mean?
The sensor triggers the lock when the door's shut. What if something was inserted, say, between the sensor and the door?
Inserted?
Oh my god, why does this have to be so slow? Can we speed this up, maybe? Just a little bit. Yeah, the fast forward. Judge, the remote's right there. If you just maybe want to. This white thing was inside the locker. It was stuck between the door and the sensor.
Oh, I understand now. It's just like my tie. 2 out of 3 times it gets stuck in the door when I get out of my control vehicle. Instead of the door closing, my tie chokes me.
But the object would have to be extremely thin to fit in the door.
Not only that, it would also have to block the electrical currents. It would need to be an insulator.
Yes, an insulator, but at the crime scene.
There just might have been something that fits the description.
But sir, by insulator, you don't mean...
I think I finally got this figured out.
Very well, will the defense please present relevant evidence? Was this insulator used to block the door?
A rubber glove. I found this near the locker, a thin rubber glove.
But we can't be sure that this was the victim's locker.
And the tag that says SL9 incident. The video seems to depict the victim opening the locker. But that isn't the case. The lit lamp attests to this. On the day of the crime, even I could have opened that locker. If this... Is this not so, Officer Meekins? If that is your real name.
Wait, but I actually didn't do it.
Yeah, we know. No. Anyway.
So we are to believe, then, that the victim, whom the witness stabbed in the evidence room, was not Detective Goodman?
Do not be misled, Your Honor.
What do you mean, Mr. Edgeworth?
The defense has merely demonstrated the possibility and nothing more. The victim in the video is indeed Bruce Goodman. The prosecution will offer one more testimony to prove this. What? Officer Meekins, please testify about this.
Yes, me, sir? I'm not sure what you're referring to, sir. Oh, you mean that, sir, of course.
Is this a joke?
Very well, begin your testimony.
This is a joke, isn't it? Mystery Man 2.
There was one other thing that proves the man was Detective Goodman. To enter the evidence room, one must use their ID card. When an ID card is used, there's a record of it. At the time of the crime, the detective had used this ID card.
An ID card. Record, I see.
I have the ID record right here, Your Honor. The only one that's bothering me is the one that's clearly a fake ID. Or that seems like a clearly fake ID. The ID used at 5:14 is that of the victim.
Just before the crime, hmm? Yes, without a doubt, this is the victim's ID. However, one thing does strike me as unusual. Several hundred cases should have been due for transferal. Why are there so few people using this room?
This particular evidence room is only for storing certain special cases.
Special cases?
Extremely violent cases involving police staff.
Just hearing that makes my hair stand on end.
Me too, although it doesn't make much of a difference. There were only a few cases up for transfer there. Most were cleared up by noon.
Right, I see. Let us make a cross-exam. Let us move on to the cross-examination.
How many cases like that are there? I mean, it looked like the room was pretty small. It only had like 2 wings, it looked like. It just had like the one locker side and then the other locker side. So there's probably like 20 lockers maybe in there. And why do they store the mascot in there? It looks like they also double it as a useless storeroom for anything. Or at least Detective Gumshoe uses it for that. Since he left a saw blade and paint in there. So unlike your earlier testimony, you believe this to be rock solid, do you?
Yes, sir, solid as stone. If my hand wasn't wrapped in bandages, I'd even give the V for victory sign. Couldn't he just use his right hand for that?
Let's hear him out fully. As we've seen, one never knows what one might say until the very last second.
It's to keep the badger contained and keep people safe. Yeah, the badger's gonna kill them all. They just didn't expect it.
The badger's here. He's going to murder you all. You just never knew it. That saw blade, that's for his enemies.
Anyway. Is that card hanging from your neck one of the ID cards?
Yes, sir. This card right next to my cuff, sir. I keep it here so I won't ever forget it.
But what if someone were to steal it from you, keeping it out in the open like that?
Maybe I shouldn't wear it around my neck. Remember when I said 2 out of 3 times my tie gets stuck in when I get out of my car? Well, that remaining time it's my ID card that gets stuck. Instead of the door closing my ID.
Maybe I should just leave this one alone. At any rate, each police officer has one ID card. Both police departments and prosecutor's office can attest to this.
Please proceed with your testimony.
Obviously, the thing that bothers us is that the ID card was found at the scene of the crime, and we knew he was murdered at the same time, so it wouldn't make sense that he could get into the room if he didn't have his ID card. And we have this lost note, but I'm not sure what they want me to object to make that brought up. Also, this is like the most evidence I've ever had. We actually have 3 tabs of evidence. Well, we can just keep holding him, see if anything comes up. Let it be noted that this is the record the witness referred to.
Let me see. Yes, that would be Detective Goodman.
What's the matter?
According to this, Mr. Edgeworth, your name is on here too.
So it is, Your Honor. I had to bow for it.
Not the prosecutor can. Maybe he's behind all this. Being a prosecutor, he could hide the evidence. Mommy, is that man blue murder? Don't stare at him.
You've got the wrong color, kid. They assumed it was Phoenix. That's funny.
It would seem the inquiry committee will want to speak with you again today.
I have nothing to be ashamed of regarding my actions or their consequences. For now, let's just continue with the cross-examination.
Poor Mr. Edgeworth, it must be so difficult for him. And not you at all, Mr.
Earlier, I believe you testified that when you asked the man to show his ID card, he pulled a knife on you.
Yes, sir, he didn't show me any ID, sir.
Don't you think that's odd? I mean, if he had his ID card, all he had to do was show it to you. There wouldn't be any reason to draw a knife.
Maybe he just panicked.
Everything stems from the contradictions. Let's point them out.
Mr. Wright, what do you think?
I'm confused.
What?
The problem with this ID card testimony is far too obvious. It's like Edgeworth to miss something like this.
You're thinking too hard on it. Come on, let's show them what we got.
Oh wait, no, I didn't want to do that. I meant the other button. No, I meant the other button. I too threaten people with a sword when I get confused. Oh, okay. Wait one moment, Officer Meekins.
I'm not good at waiting, sir.
I have the victim's ID card right here. I found it at the crime scene.
That makes sense.
When I say crime scene, I'm not referring to the evidence room at the police department. I mean the other crime scene. The underground parking lot at the prosecutor's office. Your Honor, I have one more piece of evidence to present. It is a very important clue regarding the victim's ID card.
The lost item report? It's only half completed.
But it shows that Detective Goodman had lost something on the day of the crime. Something important enough to fill out this report. Let me guess, you believe this something to be his ID card, right? I can't say for sure, but there is a high probability. On the day of the crime, Detective Goodman was not carrying his card.
Order. So now, what does that mean?
How guilty is everyone? They're like super guilty. They like have a hard-on for being guilty. It can only mean one thing. It doesn't even require much thought. The man Officer Meekin encountered in the evidence room was not Detective Goodman, but rather the man who stole his ID card.
Order. Does this prosecution have a response?
I have one thing to say to the defense. Bravo, Mr. Wright. Bravo. Allow me to summarize the defense's argument. At 5:15 p.m. on the day of the crime, the man in the evidence room Officer Meekins encountered was not Detective Goodman. There are two grounds to support this. First, the locker in the evidence room was already unlocked. Second, the victim lost his ID card. Am I correct so far, Mr. Wright? Yes. What's he up to? Obviously, he's just up to, we're trying to prove Lana is not guilty, but right now we're just proving that Meekins isn't guilty. Is the only thing we're proving right now. So by saying that it wasn't Goodman, that just proves that Lana killed the real Goodman, is what Edgeworth is probably going to go for. Is this a visual novel, more or less, or more of an actual video game? It's pretty much a detective game. It's pretty much point-and-click a detective game. But it's a visual novel, also. It's a puzzle game, but with visual novel. That being the case, we must inevitably arrive at a single conclusion. If the victim in this video is fake, and the murderer in the evidence room is also a fake. In other words, the security camera does not show the instance of murder. That is, well, I guess that's right. Is something wrong, Mr. Wright? Only moments ago you seemed content to be pointing your finger around. This isn't going to end well. Can you lose, or do you get to keep guessing? I mean, you can save scum by just saving if you want to, but you have like a health bar when you go into the courtroom, so if you present the wrong evidence, your health bar gets blown up. So you can lose. You lose if the person you're defending is, you know, seen as guilty, usually. But yeah. You can lose, but it's pretty much impossible to lose. And you can retry again anyways. But it more or less depends on where you saved it. If it matters or not. Well, it seems you finally realized exactly what you've gone to such lengths to prove.
Explain yourself, Mr. Edgeworth.
The defense has already done explaining for me. The victim in this video is a fake, which means a murder did not take place at the police department at 5:15 on the day of the crime.
So...
The real crime could only take place at one location, the underground parking lot. At the prosecutor's office, the murderer being Miss Lana Skye, the defendant. The evidence is compelling. A trustworthy witness observed the moment the defendant used the murdered weapon. I don't know if we can call it trustworthy, but... Sounds fun. You've not been lurking more for this game since you missed the early parts, and it seems hard to jump into. I mean, it's pretty easy to jump into, since it has episodes. It's not all one coherent story, really. So... I guess if you miss, like, one thing, though, when you come into a case, then it's a little weird. I knew that testimony was way too shabby. It was all a trap from the beginning.
The activity in the evidence room still leaves many questions unanswered. Just who exactly was the victim Officer Meekin encountered, and where did this person disappear to? However, this trial process is to examine only the murder of Detective Goodman.
Just so, Your Honor.
Mr. Wright, you have to do something or else Lana...
What do I do? How am I supposed to get myself out of this mess? Object! One moment, Your Honor. What now, Mr. Wright? Don't tell me you're objecting to what you have just proven. Of course not. But I almost walked right into the prosecution's trap. What are you talking about? This cross-examination has proven one thing and one thing only. The security video did not show the actual murder. And? Just give it a moment. So yeah, how is everyone? However, it cannot be said that it is unrelated to the murder in the parking lot. Specifically, large amounts of blood traces were found in the evidence room. The defense demands further examinations into the truth on this matter.
Mr. Edgeworth?
Yes, Your Honor.
If this court were to examine this further, other witnesses will be necessary. Is the prosecution prepared?
I'm sorry, Your Honor. The prosecution considered the incident at the police department to be unrelated. We have not prepared any other witnesses for this incident. This just might be my chance. Time to call a certain Texas Ranger to the stand.
Mr. Wright, do you mean...
Your Honor, the defense would like to request a specific witness.
Oh, whom do you have in mind?
Someone you have reason to believe knows the truth. The truth behind the activities that took place in the evidence room. The prosecution requests to hear this person's name before deciding whether or not to comply.
Very well then, Mr. Wright. This person whom you would have testify, what is his or her name?
Officer Jake Marshall. Why him? I can't let Edgeworth know everything just yet. He's in charge of the evidence room. I feel we should hear what he has to say. The prosecution agrees to the defense's request. Since he was responsible for guarding the room, we should hear his testimony. Fortunately, he works in the police department. We shouldn't need longer than 20 minutes to prepare.
Very well. The court will take a 30-minute recess while the witness is subdued.
Subpoenaed.
Will the prosecution please prepare the witness during this time?
We will, Your Honor.
The court is now in recess.
Is Lana gonna tell us anything? Or not? February 24th, 11:32 a.m. District Court Lobby. Defendant Lobby. Number 2.
There's no stopping you, is there, Mr. Wright?
Huh? What do you mean?
You called for Jake Marshall. It seems you figured everything out.
I haven't figured anything out.
Lana, you're the one who knows everything. Emma, you always knew everything. You always know everything. Why don't you just tell us? Mr. Wright is trying his hardest to protect you. I don't recall ever asking for his protection. How can you be so cold? Don't you trust us? Don't you trust me?
I hope I'm not interrupting anything, pals. No, guess I am. I'll come back later. Just walk away slowly.
Wait, Detective Gumshoe, what is it? Don't go. I'm scared.
You got a lot of nerve, pal, making a detective run all around while on duty. On top it off, you call me here. I've ever seen happier people at funerals.
Sorry, Detective.
You better be, pal. Hey. Hey. I didn't see you there, Chief Prosecutor Sky.
That's okay. So, have you brought what I asked?
No, you mean this, right?
My apologies, Detective. Due to my present circumstances, I was forced to use Mr. Wright's name when making my request.
My name?
Never in a million years would I thought it was you who asked me. Could I bother you to bring me the SL9 incident files? I'll need them by noon. Talk about crazy.
The SL9 incident?
But Lana, that's... I thought Mr. Wright might need them, so I had them brought here. Here, you might do well to read them.
I can't believe the chief prosecutor were a witness in that case.
Miss Sky was a witness? Is that why she's being framed? Joe Drake. Killings. Oh, it's Mr. Joe Drake, the dragon himself.
Take it from me, you don't want anything to do with serial murders. Now what? Now that I brought you the stuff, you're just gonna ignore me?
Emma, but why? Why is your name on here?
What? My name's in here? I don't know, unless... No, it couldn't be Lana. This SL9 incident is that... That's classified. That's a classification number the police filed it under. 2 years ago, the rest of the world knew it as... Joe Drake killings. The Joe Drake killings? No, Lana. That's over with, no.
Emma, wait! She ran away.
No, you know, I just remembered. I gotta be somewhere. Sorry, pal, but I'm out of here.
He left too. Jake Marshall, Angel Stodd, Damon Gant, Miles Edgeworth. No, not to mention Lana and Emma. Everyone involved in this case is connected to those killings 2 years ago. This can't be just a coincidence.
Knowing you, you just might be able to figure it out. Time to get back to the trial, Mr. Wright. Best of luck.
I better take a good look at this file. Welp. Seems, some pretty spicy stuff is going on. Is Emma the killer? 12:14 p.m. District Court. Courtroom 9. Anyway, going solo for this one.
The court would now reconvene the trial of Miss Nana Sky.
Emma didn't come back.
Allow me to call the next witness to the stand, the officer in charge of guarding the evidence room the day of the crime. That wasn't doing his job and drinking in the middle of the case. Witness, please state your name and occupation. Me, partner?
No, I'm just a man same as you, wandering the trials of civilization. Occupational helping and the elderly cross intersections when needed. Yes, we get it. Oh, I know. You're a patrolman. As for my name, if you listen to hard enough, you can hear the howling wind calling it out. To be exact, Jake Marshall, Your Honor. Howling wind? I've never heard Edgeworth described that way before. Now, Mr. Marshall, let me ask you something. You were in charge of guarding the evidence room on the day of the crime took place. Is this correct? According to the papers, partner.
Why does the pop-ups happen randomly when I'm doing this?
What do you mean? A desperado soul is boundless as the desert sands. No paper can sum it up. Maybe it's best we got on with this quickly. Please share with us your testimony the day of the crime, in plain old English. My job was to keep a wary eye on the bone orchard. They said I was supposed to make rounds 3 times a day, but that ain't my style. Besides, the room's protected by 2 security systems anyway. If I remember right, I was at a street-side saloon at the time and went down. I'm just an innocent traveling man, so if you're out of ammo, it's time I hit the trail. Yes, of course, whatever that means. I can see I practically care for your attitude. I can't say I care for your beard, but you don't see me complaining. Wait a minute. What do you mean by 2 security systems? I mean the security cameras and the ID card reader. Reckon even a capone like you knows about those. Yes, well, what about the fingerprint-activated locks and the evidence lockers? Fingerprint-activated locks? What kind of newfangled doohickeys are those? He's not even being very helpful. He's not that good with machines or following orders. Everyone's got their weakness, now don't they, Mr. Prosecutor? This one seems like trouble. Okay, Mr. Wright, he's all yours.
Day of the crime. Bone orchard? How exactly did you keep an eye on the evidence room? I just made sure nothing moved in the security camera monitor. That room's so still. Even time dies in there. I was just a caretaker who interred the recordings. You interred them? The videos of nothing aren't that useful. When the time had come, I'd erase the tape. If nothing unusual is on the record, nothing unusual is recorded, the tapes are to be erased every 6 hours. Each time I erased a tape, it felt like I was erasing part of my life. This guy has a flair for a dramatic, but it isn't as good to do in any... whatever. So in actuality, you don't physically enter the evidence room. They said I was supposed to make rounds 3 times a day, but that ain't my style. Yeah.
But you made rounds on the day of the crime, right? And you heard a word I said, partner? I told you they ain't my style. I'm afraid I don't understand. No desperado I know lets rules get in his way. No desperados I know join the police force. So, Officer Marshall, on the day of the crime. It's between you and me, I didn't set foot in the evidence room that day. There was a rubber glove stuck in the victim's locker. Do you know about that? Sorry, partner. Can't say I do. I haven't been in the crypt in weeks. How does this guy avoid being fired?
Except we do know he was inside of it.
You used to be a detective, so you used the evidence room in the past, correct? Of course. Back in my day, the locker was a gold mine of evidence. And then you didn't know about the fingerprinting locking method. Sorry, partner, I'm good with machines. I couldn't even tell you how a bike works. That's quite incredible.
The sensors on the locker handles cannot be seen. It's well known that some detectives are unaware of their presence.
Now that he mentions it, Detective Gumshoe said something like that too. But at any rate, it doesn't seem that this is relevant to the crime. Can you tell us what you were doing when the crime took place?
What were you doing in a place like that?
I was eating spaghetti. Not even an angel's steak lunches can beat the Palas von Corsair pasta.
Do you mean to tell us you abandoned your police duties to eat some noodles?
Not all desperados eat tacos, partner.
That's not what I meant. I hope that has at least taught you a lesson.
That's strange. As usually when Edgeworth says, "Did you not want to raise this year?" Out of ammo, Officer Marshall.
That's right, partner. Or as you would call it, evidence. If you plan to pin me to this crime, then you better draw. Otherwise, you're just wasting my time. My steel horse is waiting to carry me back to the west on Sunset.
Well, one thing seems clear. You really like Bon Jovi, despite being responsible for guarding the evidence room. The witness doesn't appear to have seen anything.
Texans don't take orders from anyone. Everyone knows that, even though I've never been to Texas. Apparently your superiors don't. Okay, I have a trump card up my sleeve, so I best keep my cool. Before I use it, though, I'd better up the ante. Besides the room was that, if I remember. Yeah, but didn't he say... just 3 times a day, I knew myself. Besides the room's protected by security. Remember, I was at Suicide Saloon. Okay, this part. I think this part is where we want it. Yeah, okay. Officer Marshall. Doesn't it strike you as odd? That is, you being called in to testify like this. After all, you weren't in the security room at the time of the crime. And yet you dragged me down here. Explain yourself, partner. It's quite simple. You left a very large trail behind at the scene. Or to be exact, a handprint. Listen real good, partner. Like I said, I'm a caretaker of that crypt. I pay my respects, that is my rounds, about once a month. It's only natural my fingerprints would be in there. I only wish it were, officer. But you see, your fingerprints were covered in blood.
Witness, what is the meaning of this? Your bloodstained fingerprints were at the scene of the crime?
The blood was wiped away, however. Aluminum, whatever the thing is, tests clearly revealed this. Well, Officer Marshall? It seems to me there ain't a person in this room with a head on his shoulders. I take it you have some explanation then, Officer Marshall, about the blood-stained fingerprints.
Very well. You may begin your testimony about your fingerprints found at the scene of the crime.
Like I said, it's only natural my fingerprints to be in the evidence room. One of them just happened to be at the same place as the blood-stained handprint. The murderer touched the locker where my fingerprint was by chance. The bloodstain and the fingerprint are completely unrelated. Or didn't you know the murderer was wearing gloves? See? Had nothing to do with it. How did you know he was wearing gloves? They can't lie. You know that guy is Shaggy? Yeah. Like Zoinky Scoop. I totally murdered that guy. I don't know. Life wouldn't be fun without any doubt, partner.
The defense may now cross-examine the witness.
This guy's hiding something, I can feel it. Now's my chance to prove it. That's because you, how did you put it, pay your respects once a month. Yeah, that's right. Then one more thing. That locker happens to be mine.
What? What do you mean?
I mean what I said. That locker I used when I was a detective, the locker I still use. All that's in there now is a heap of broken dreams.
I see. You just kind of incriminated yourself, though.
Yeah, there you go, Perp.
Like zoinks. No way that blood is mine.
Having a banana and egg sandwich? Banana and egg? That sounds kinda gross.
It'd be strange if my prints weren't all over that locker. Apparently his fingerprint data was never removed from the locker's programming. He must have been using the fingerprint mark all this time without ever knowing it.
I mean, they did eat some strange things, to say the least. So, can I get him on this now? Like, I know that there's a contradiction there, clearly. Well, they're just having the... I guess I should probably hold them up for...
What about the bloody handprint? Wasn't mine, it's no mystery.
Please explain.
My locker is covered with my fingerprints, it just so happened. The murderer touched the locker with the fingerprint by chance, yeah. The chances of that happening are 1,000,000 to 1. On the contrary, one could argue just the opposite chances of that not happening are 1,000,000 to 1. Got one thing straight, partner. You ain't gonna get no reward from me with a mere fingerprint. You wanna know why? Unrelated. They're as different as night and day. Kinda like cereal and cereal. One's got to do with breakfast, the other's a type of murderer.
He's right. Although seemingly alike, they're totally different.
I don't see what homophones have to do with, whatever, homonyms, phones. The same thing. How do you know that? I might be a loner, but I do my job. I keep up on the reports. There were bloodstains at the scene, thought to be left by the murderer. That's right. Was found in Detective Gumshoe's locker. However, no fingerprints were detected on that handprint. Oh yeah, I think we tried that too.
So that would mean the murderer was wearing gloves. Happened to be in the place the murderer's fingerprints were, yeah. It's the only logical conclusion.
Are you starting to get the picture, partner?
So, can I show the videotape now?
The picture? We see your blood. I am in the desert. It's just food for the buzzards. There's only one reality, and that's this. A security tape. So as long as my trial isn't in there, you can't say otherwise. Actually, it is in there. Is the funny thing. You're just kind of bluntly making yourself incriminated.
This isn't getting us anywhere, Mr. Wright. Please consider carefully where you're going to with this cross-examination.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now then, continue your testimony, Officer Marshall.
Too bad it wasn't me in that video, right, partner?
The evidence clearly reveals a contradiction in that statement, Your Honor.
No, exactly. Are the evidence in that statement just now related?
They're not, are they?
Wait, yes they are. Oh my god. They are related. It's just going to say, nope, you weren't supposed to say it right then.
What do you mean by that?
They wanted me to say hold it first.
You want to tie me to this crime, isn't that right, partner? If so, the video is the only direct evidence you have. But the video is next to useless. It's full of blind spots.
Blind spots?
The places you can't see. The camera's panning back and forth. The floor isn't shown. If someone was familiar with the camera's position, they could leave the room without being caught on tape. We don't have time for your speculations, Mr. Wright.
Well, Mr. Wright, if you can show us evidence that the...
Okay, yeah, of course. So I just wasted my health for no reason, because they wanted me to do it specifically then.
Okay, very well. Allow me to point out your mistake, Officer Marshall.
Tread carefully, Mr. Wright. You might wind up being the one making a mistake.
Now then, let's have another look at this video.
No, wait, fast forward. Like if you just saw him standing behind there, it would be funny. If he was just standing behind the display, that'd be funny. But no, I already know. Bringing our attention back to the security camera is a mistake I'm afraid you'll soon not forget, Officer Marshall. These days are short in Texas, and so are tempers. Do you sum up what you have to say in 8 words or less? Very well. You can clearly be seen in this video. Exactly 8 words. Not bad, partner. The key lies in a certain locker shown in the video. Your locker. Are they gonna make me watch the whole thing again? Okay, no. Good.
That locker with the white cloth sticking out of it, that was the witnesses, I believe.
Now then, let's rewind the video a bit. It's not there for one moment, and then it's there. And yeah, hey T-Cult. The music for this is always pretty okay. It's always pretty okay. It's pretty okay music. Check something really quick.
Oh, the white cloth, it's gone. What's the meaning of this, Mr. Marshall?
When the crime took place, the white cloth wasn't there. Then it suddenly appeared. There's only one explanation. Officer Marshall, you were in the evidence room at the time of the crime. What's more, you opened your locker when the camera was turned away.
Border, it would seem that's only...
Hold your horses. Sorry, partner, but you got the wrong man. So what if my locker was open? It doesn't mean I'm the one who opened it. Huh. Edgeworth already knows it's wrong. The murderer needed to hide something, so he opened the locker and stuck it in. It's not my fault you happened to choose mine. Why's everyone staring at me like I'm a wanted man? This guy isn't just playing dumb. He really doesn't know. I hate to rain on your parade, but you're the only person who can open that particular locker. Oh yeah? I'll call your bluff. You say I opened that locker. Now prove it. A fingerprint sensor. We talked about this earlier today. The lockers can only be opened by the detectives they belong to. What kind of crazy talk is this? Are you some kind of future people? Next you're gonna tell me they have cellular phones. Well, Detective Gumshoe did mention something about this.
In any case, the locks aren't that obvious. There are even some people on the force that don't know about the fingerprint lock.
I mean, in all honesty, this kind of stuff has happened in real court cases, where you get some old person trying to murder people and then they're too stupid to realize that technology advanced. Like, that actually happens in some court cases. It can be kind of funny. Or at least satisfying. Just think about all the people caught for murder when security cameras were made and people didn't realize they were a thing. But anyway, Sarsaras, what do you have to say in 8 words or less? Is he like ripping off jerky? Or his leather glove? I only got 1 word for you, partner. No!
What? Order, witness, explain yourself.
Is this a joke? It's the worst I've ever heard. I assure you this is no joke, Officer Marshall. Now then, please tell us what you were doing in the evidence room at the time of the crime.
Gole, please answer the question.
What is he now? A bullfighter? That's alright, Officer Marshall. I believe we can figure out the rest from here.
We can?
Have a look at these floor plans. There's no place for someone to hide in the evidence room. Yet Officer Meekins didn't see Officer Marshall.
If that's so, then where was the witness?
It seems Mr. Wright has the answer. That's right. The only possible conclusion.
Well then, let's hear it. Where was Officer Marshall at the time of the crime?
Officer Marshall was standing right here.
Yeah, but that's where the victim, Detective Goodman, was.
Correct, unless the man wasn't Detective Goodman. I believe the victim in this video is Officer Marshall. It was you dressed up like Detective Goodman. But that's preposterous. Officer Meekins witnessed the detective at this crime. Once he saw the man's face, you'd know for sure. May I point out, though, that Officer Meekins did not know Detective Goodman. He also testified about the man's reaction when confronted.
When I entered the evidence room, I asked him to show his ID card.
Yes, and how did Detective Goodman respond?
He suddenly pulled a knife on me.
Something about the officer's story puzzled me. If the man had his ID card, why didn't he just show it?
Yes, he would have indeed. He would have needed it to enter the entrance room, so he must have been carrying it.
The answer is simple. He couldn't show it. As you can see, Detective Goodman's picture is on this ID card.
No, I get it.
If he showed that, his cover would have been blown. Officer Meekins would have realized that man wasn't Detective Goodman. You have anything to say to this, Officer Marshall? You got quite an imagination, partner. We got a term for that. It's called circumstantial evidence. Circumstantial evidence? He's still denying it. You're gonna have to do better than that to be a detective. I don't know why I'm suddenly changing my accent. Unless you have hard evidence, I dressed up as the victim.
I can't say I particularly care for your uncooperative disposition.
I can't say I care for your beard, but you didn't see me complaining.
You used that one already. Mr. Wright, do you have any evidence proving beyond a shadow of a doubt that Officer Marshall was dressed as the victim?
Well, who am I kidding? I don't have anything like that. Yes, I do. He has the jacket inside of his locker. I can see the fear in your eyes, partner. Seems you're the one who couldn't take the desert heat. Ah, this can't be happening. It's so obvious he's the one. What can I do? It looks like your lack of experience has finally been exposed. I'll pass on to you what someone told me when I was just staring out. When you run into a wall, with no place to go, return to the basics. The basics of CQC. For me, that would be what Mia used to tell me. Phoenix, try thinking outside of the box. I shouldn't look for the proof that Officer Marshall was in disguise. But rather, I'd look for the evidence that came about because he was disguised. Why do you think this locker was opened in the first place?
What do you mean?
There's no reason for Officer Marshall to open his locker at the time of the crime. Yet he did, despite the chance it might be discovered later, as it has been. Which means he didn't originally plan to open his locker.
According to the defense's argument, Officer Jake Marshall dressed up as a Detective Goodman at the time of the crime. Then, after the crime was committed, he opened his own locker for some unknown reason, even though they can clearly see the jacket in there.
The fact that white cloth is sticking out of the locker seems to indicate that he opened it in order to put the cloth inside.
So, what exactly is this piece of cloth?
Perhaps the video is the key to all of our unanswered questions. I don't have any evidence, so this video is my only shot.
Very well. Let's take another look at the security camera. After committing the crime, the witness opened the locker and put away the white cloth. He showed what why the witness had to open the locker.
Oh. So was a part of his clothing ripped off, and it wasn't the whole jacket itself? But just part of it? We know he didn't put the glove in there. No, no way. Rewind slightly. No, wait, did I want to fast forward? Yeah. Fast forward slightly. No, stop. I keep hitting the wrong button. For some reason, you disguised yourself as Detective Goodman and entered the evidence room, though I don't know to what end yet. However, something unexpected happened. Officer Meekins barged in on you. When asked to show your ID card, you pulled a knife on him. However, Officer Meekins panicked, and the white coat you were wearing soiled with blood.
The bloody white coat.
You couldn't just walk out like that, so you hid the coat in your locker. Not bad, partner. You're pretty good, as my Professor Ocelot would say.
Now then, Officer Marshall, are you ready to tell us the truth?
Looks like I underestimated y'all. Hope you're happy now, Edgeworth. 2 years ago, if you were only half as persistent then as you are today, we all wouldn't have to be here right now, would we? Officer Marshall, tell the court what you did, all of it. Alright. Seems the time has come. I had to do it that day. I just couldn't stand by and let it die. I stole the detective's ID card, and just like him, I planned to take out the evidence. I wasn't expecting Officer Meekins, so I knocked him out. And I managed to escape. I knew which areas wouldn't be caught on camera. There wasn't any murder in the evidence room at 5:15.
So, the supposed victim was really you.
But there's one thing I still don't understand. Traces of a large quantity of blood were found on the floor in the evidence room. No one was murdered, then how could that be? Officer Meekins managed to cut his own hand. My guess is he's the donor. There's way too much blood for such a small donation. When you say it, you mean... Do you even have to ask, partner? The SL9 incident. 2 years have passed. 2 years have passed since that case closed. It was going to be completely end with the transferal that day. Not if I had anything to do with it. The incident's not over. But what did you hope to accomplish by sneaking into the evidence room? When the case is closed, only the case-led lead detective can look through the evidence. I wanted to have a look at it myself one more time, no matter what the cost. I don't care what anyone says, partner. The case is mine. But Officer Marshall wasn't in charge of that investigation. Why does he care so much about it? That day was my last chance, that's why I stole the detective's ID, and just like him. Yeah. Why'd you disguise yourself as Detective Goodman? If I didn't make it look like Goodman was carrying out the evidence transfer, I'd be arrested for stealing evidence which wouldn't get me anywhere. So you did to fool the security camera.
And the detective ID card.
I stole it the morning of the incident. So that really was why Goodman started filing out that lost item report. I returned his ID card. I left it on the floor in the prosecutor's office parking lot. An ID card was found left there by Officer Marshall. So essentially, you managed to
succeed despite your lack of foresight. What do you mean, partner? I mean, the fingerprint-activated lock, of course. No matter how well you disguise yourself, you can't change your fingerprints. Under normal circumstances, you wouldn't have been able to open that locker yourself. But he could because the rubber glove just happened to get stuck in the door. That means Detective Goodman must have opened the locker before Officer Marshall.
So that means Officer Marshall was still killed in the room, then? Is that what we're getting at? Does that mean someone was killed in there at the time Edgeworth and the 777 was in there? But Goodman was only in there once.
He pulled a knife on Officer Meekins and tried to drive him off. Let's just say I was a little surprised. I only planned on being in the evidence room for no more than 5 minutes. I didn't think anyone would actually come in during that short time. Officer Meekins certainly is a one-in-a-million type of person. Mistaking a detective for an intruder and demanding to be shown his ID.
I'll have to think a little more about his raise this year.
When did Edgeworth get so much influence?
And anyway, he threw himself at me and I ended up killing him slightly. I'm sorry it had to turn out this way, with me knocking him out, and good and everything. But the way, what happened to your knife? Oh, you mean this one?
I don't know what to say. So you knocked Officer Meekins out and...
I'm going to guess 7's joke visitor number and is actually important. I feel like it might be important, but I'm not sure.
So you did your research beforehand? Those who go into the desert unprepared don't live long, partner. I didn't think it would make a difference, though. The security tape is erased every 6 hours. It all gone as planned. No footage would have been left. However, you bloodied your coat in your struggle with Officer Meekins. If someone in the security room was security woman when I came out, the jig would have been up. I opened the locker and stashed it in there. What was Officer Meekins doing during that time? What else? He was sleeping like a baby. So, what you're saying on that day is... But the blood found at the scene certainly indicates a crime took place. What, are you blind? The victim shown on the tape is me, and I'm not dead yet, partner. So you stole the evidence from the locker? Actually, no, I didn't. Why not? When I opened the locker, the evidence was already gone. What? Mr. Edgeworth, where's the evidence? It's still missing, Your Honor. Detective Goodman's locker was already empty. Someone else stole the evidence. Officer Marshall, may I ask you one thing? Fire away, partner. It's a free country. Just remember, I'm also free to decide whether or not to answer. Why did you do this? Stealing a detective's ID, injuring a police officer, is no small offense. Moreover, you're an officer yourself. This will have serious consequences. It can't just be forgiven with a simple cut in salary. Not that salary cuts are a valid solution. Like I said, this isn't your case. This one is mine. And I'll do anything it takes to get an answer I'm satisfied with. The witness has unusual amount of zeal. Let's hear more.
Why? That case was solved 2 years ago, wasn't it?
That's the reason the evidence was stored in the evidence room.
Joe Drake was convicted for his crimes. One thing I can say for sure is he deserved his sentence.
I remember the Joe Drake case. It involved serial murders, did it not?
I don't intend to complain about how it turned out, but there's something that still bothers me. Something went down in that trial. Something no one will talk about.
What happened?
I don't know. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Why is he so concerned with that incident? Maybe I should present him with that, what I think is the real reason is. feeling you'd wind up sooner or later. Everyone involved here is related in some way to that case. I'd take another look at the files. Yeah, we didn't actually look at the files yet. Case closed. Perpetrator, Joe Drake, serial murder. Sentence, death. Victims, Edward Jones, Jason Knight. Jed Bates. Trial data. Witnesses, Lana Sky and Emma Sky. Task Force. Executive Investigators, Damon Gant, Lana Sky. Head Investigator, Bruce Goodman. Investigator, Jake Marshall, Angel Star. Oh, Neil Marshall. When you say it, yeah. We need to go back to the first part again to make him say that. Or maybe I can say it to either or. You know why? I do know why. Officer Marshall, I think I understand. I think I know why you care so much about the SL9 incident. Sounds like you've been sipping too much cactus juice, partner. I have the SL9 incident file right here. The name, Marshall, is mentioned in here. In the list of murder victims... Neil Marshall, are you related to this man? Neil Marshall. Yeah, I'm sure you've heard the name. 2 years ago. You received the same lousy prosecutor award you got.
What? The prosecutor?
You must be talking about the King Prosecutor Award. Now I remember. The prosecutor, Neil Marshall. He handled the SL9 case before I did. That's right. He was killed, and the case fell into your hands.
But what's his relation to you?
He was my brother. He was investigating the murders with Damon Gant, then the deputy chief of police. A group of detectives I was part of worked under them. We were desperate to prosecute the killer. Guy looks like a killer. Joe Drake. My brother fought Drake and was killed. That was the first time Drake left behind any evidence. That was all we needed. He was arraigned and incarcerated. The case was finally closed, at least according to public records.
What do you mean?
My brother couldn't have been killed by Joe Drake. I knew my brother better than anyone. No one could have beaten him in a fight. And that's it. That's your reason for your insane actions. There's more to my brother's death than what the records say. No matter how much you try to hide it, you can't fool me.
Well, at least one thing's for certain. Now we know what happened to the police department on the day of the crime.
That was the last day SL9 case could have been reopened. Not satisfied with its resolution, Marshall planned to steal the evidence. Disguising himself as Detective Goodman, he entered the evidence room. Officer Meekins confronted him, so he rendered him unconscious and fled. Yes, this mystery has finally been cleared up. No murder took place at the police department that day. I don't think that's true, though. A thing that happened by chance never ceased to amaze me. At exactly the same time as the murder at the prosecutor's office, this fake murder was going on at the police department. Chance? It's got to be more than that.
So if no one was murdered at the police department on the day of the crime, that means the murder in the prosecutor's office's parking lot was the real one.
Which in turn means only one person could have committed the crime. Chief Prosecutor Lana Sky. But wait, a verdict wasn't reached in yesterday's trial. Which is why we examined the incident at the police department today. But
There's only one reason the defendant was not convicted yesterday. There yet remained the mystery on the simultaneous murder at the police department. It seems to me this boy's got the draw on you, partner. All the mysteries at the police department have been resolved, no doubt about it. Now there's still too much blood. It's starting to make me think that Chief Gant was the one who killed all of these people, though. And that Joe Drake was indeed a killer, but he was just, you know, in cahoots. Or was a scapegoat. Our sole murder took place at the prosecutor's office. The only suspect is Nana Sky. And the testimony of one Miss Angel Star is completely incontestable. Do you have any response? Make it a single word or less. Objection! Ah! Huh? I rest my case. Gant is so jolly. No, he looks like murderer to me. It seems this trial has reached its conclusion. There's no room for doubt.
Well done, Mr. Wright. Thanks to you, I didn't need to waste my time disproving the alleged murder at the police department. There's no doubt what I proved today is true. The apparent murder on the security tournament tape really is fake. I didn't realize that would end up proving Lana guilty.
Now then, the time for the verdict has arrived. This court finds the defendant.
Hold it. Yeah, there you go.
Your Honor, wait.
Emma?
The defense has an objection, a scientific objection. Right?
What do you mean, right? Mr. Wright, are you this girl's guardian?
Your Honor, in a sense.
Please, Your Honor. All I'm asking for is a minute of your time. Please hear me out. Mr. Edgeworth, please.
I don't want to leave any loose ends. You want a minute, I'll give you 3.
I was kind of in shock. I mean, finding out SL incident referred to the Joe Drake killings.
Now she mentions it. The names of both Sky Sisters were in that file.
But that's why I figured it out. I mean, what Officer Marshall was trying to do that day, so I knew his fingerprints had nothing to do with the crime. That left only one thing, the other handprint.
You mean traces of blood found on Detective Gumshoe's locker?
But those fingerprints were... but no fingerprints were found on it, right?
No, but I figured if I examined it scientifically, I'd be sure to find a clue. So I ran over there and looked at it again.
So did you find something?
No.
Huh?
Sorry, I guess I'm not much of a scientific investigator after all.
Is that all?
Please don't be mad, I'm just a high school student.
I'm just an attorney.
Mr. Wright, those traces of blood are the only clue we have. If we can't find something wrong with them... Please, Mr. Wright, you're a professional. If anyone can save Lana, it's you.
Me? Oh boy.
Time's up. Now then, Mr. Wright. With regard to the incidents at the police department, does any reasonable doubt remain?
It appears the defense is troubled by the other blood mark. Looking at the floor plans, the handprint was discovered around here. Is there a problem with this?
Mr. Wright, I'm sorry I can't be of more use. But still, if you can't find anything wrong with that blood mark, Lana will be...
Please answer my question. We don't have all day, Mr. Wright.
Yes, Your Honor. If I ever need to contradict, it's now. What could be wrong with that handprint on Detective Gumshoe's locker? Could there be something I'm missing? I object. This handprint left at the crime scene clearly shows a contradiction. The only thing that seems clear is your grasping, Mr. Wright. Ha, you act like I do this off the top of my head and don't actually get evidence beforehand. Please help me, Emma. Don't shut up, actually. Don't listen to Tico. Keep talking, it distracts them.
You've been staring pretty intently at those floor plans. Tell me, is there something wrong with them?
Yes, this is strange. Take a good look at these floor plans. Something is missing. Missing? You mean something that hasn't been drawn on there? Yes, something that when drawn will completely change the meaning of the blood mark.
Oh, okay, so I was right then.
Let us pray the defense isn't simply trying to buy time. Well then, Mr. Wright.
With all this evidence here, there's got to be something I can use.
The question is, which can prove something is missing in the floor plans?
What about that piece of plywood? The Blue Badger, mascot of the police force, defender of truth, guardian of proof. Yes. Explain yourself, Mr. Wright. Please look at the floor plans and the crime scene. The Blue Badger is not here. So... Wait, why are you here instead of Emma? So watch what happens when we put him there. This is where he was dancing at the time of the crime. Well?
Well, what?
That's right. So long as the Blue Badger is dancing here, it would be impossible to place a handprint at this spot on the locker. Wait, why'd he react like that too?
So that means, just what exactly does that mean?
It means it can't be done.
What are you saying? Blood traces were undeniably found on that locker.
But look at that, you cut me off.
Mr. Wright, think it through scientifically.
Emma, you're here again.
On that afternoon, Officer Meekins was the one who brought the Blue Badger to the evidence room, right? After he put it down, it would be impossible to leave a handprint on that locker.
So that means this blood mark was left there before the Blue Badger was brought in.
Just a moment. I will not allow such far-fetched bladder dashed in my courtroom.
It may sound far-fetched, Your Honor, but it's the only possible explanation. On February 21st, in the police department's evidence room, blood was spilled not once, but twice.
But how?
One time was captured on this tape taken by the security camera. Officer Meekins cut his hand from which a trivial amount of blood fell. The problem is, the other time. Someone bled prior to the struggle shown on this tape. It had to have been Detective Goodman when he was really being murdered.
That's ridiculous. I refuse to accept such absurd claims.
The murder portrayed in the security tape has been proven to be fake. However, that does not explain the blood mark found on the locker.
So then, assuming this murder you purportedly really happened, when did it take place? I demand you show evidence that proves when it occurred.
When did the first incident occur?
To summarize, the defense claims that prior to the Officer Meekins being cut by Jake Marshall, who was posing as Detective Goodman, another incident took place in that evidence room.
That's right. The blood mark on the evidence locker proves this.
Very well, then tell us. When did the first incident occur? Mr. Entworth said proof must be presented.
Proof that shows when the murder took place. There's only one piece of evidence that can show that.
Now then, when will the defense please present evidence?
If the crime took place inside the evidence room, then the killer would have had to enter. In order to do this, an ID card would have to have been required.
An ID card? Oh, the ID card record!
Officer Meekins brought the Blue Badger panel into the evidence room at,
let's see, 450. If the crime took place before that time, then it would be 440. Miss Styles, Edgeworth, just what have you done?
I never would have figured you had the nerve, boy. And drop the act, witness. It doesn't take a lot of thought to figure out it couldn't have been me. No, I ain't getting it.
I'm afraid I don't understand either. It's clear...
It's clear from the linoleum that the blood was... However, the second crime took place. Officer Meekins and Officer Marshall failed to notice the blood. That means the blood from the first crime was wiped away by the real murderer. I would have just 10 minutes to murder the victim and carry his body away, and clean up the blood. Unfortunately, that's physically impossible.
That would mean the crime must have been taken place before Mr. Edgeworth entered the evidence room.
Let's take a look at this chart again. There's only one other person that came in. Someone that has a really suspicious card. There's only one other card. The remaining 77777. Talk about a lucky number.
But wait, that doesn't make sense. How could Detective Goodman have entered the evidence room?
Since there's no record of his card being used beforehand, he must have entered along with the real murderer. That's the only plausible explanation. He went in with 77777, whatever.
Mr. Everett, please look into this ASPP. Find out who his ID number is 7777.
That's one too many sevens, Your Honor. Unfortunately, I'm unable to look up the owner of that ID card, at least at present.
What?
Explain yourself, son. The ID number 77 belongs to someone with a rank of captain or higher. Someone who is so-called executive officer. We don't have the authority to inquire into such personal details. So yeah, I was right, it's Gant. Well, we already knew it was Gant, but, you know.
But now...
I'm finished talking, Mr. Wright. There's one situation in which we can be granted such authority.
It's an official charge filed against an executive is accepted.
An official charge? You're all alike, aren't you? With your cover-ups and your forgeries. That's how prosecutors' office operates. I take pride in my work, Officer Marshall. I would appreciate it if you would keep your slander to yourself. Slander, is it? Okay. Let me ask a question. Yes? No, not you. To her, the defendant sitting over there. Your own little executive.
Lana?
Don't be stupid. She's been charged with murder. Of course we've looked up her ID number, and it's not that. Don't play me for a fool, partner. That's not what I want to ask. All I want to know is one thing about that incident.
The Asunine incident?
Answer me this, Chief Prosecutor. In that trial 2 years ago, did you really only use legitimate evidence? Getting spicy. Do you need the witness to repeat this question, Chief Prosecutor? I heard him fine, Mr. Edgeworth. 2 years ago, I was in charge of the prosecution for that trial. At the time, occasionally we felt the powerlessness of the law. At least I did. Lana, I became a prosecutor in order to suppress crime with the law. But before I realized it, we were the ones being suppressed by the law.
Defendant, just what are you saying?
As to you again, Chief Prosecutor. During the trial 2 years ago, did you really present all the evidence to court? Can you look me in the investigator in that crime in the eye and say that you did?
Chief Prosecutor, you didn't...
I didn't have to, Officer Marshall. Why won't you answer him? Drastic crimes require drastic measures. That's just the way it is. We did what we had to, in order for him to get the verdict he deserved. But, Lana, even if it involved forging evidence... See, that's what I'm talking about. No. No!
Huh? Order! Our justice system is totally normal. We just, make crimes.
Chaos in the courtroom ensued. Would he have waited until the following day? Well, we have to figure out more. It still seems like Gant might have killed someone. This had to happen so the case could open. What I'm thinking is that Marshall's brother had something against the chief. The chief killed him, framed someone else, framed the Jake guy. Then they forged the evidence against Jake instead. But Lana might have not have known that Marshall's brother was being framed. Possibly. But in this murder, someone else could be being framed. If Emma had to do with it, she could have gotten framed. Or maybe she killed someone. I don't know.
I'm so sorry, Mr. Wright. I'm sorry for what my sister said.
Why do we care about that part?
I didn't know. I never knew that the SL Line incident was just another name for the Joe Drake killings.
Sounds like everyone's heard about these killings but me. It's like I should really watch the news at some time.
Lana wanted Drake convicted so badly. That's why she used me. That's why she used what happened to me.
What do you mean, what happened to you?
It's all there in that file. Joe Drake's last victim was Prosecutor Neil Marshall. When he murdered Officer Marshall's brother, he left behind an incriminating piece of evidence.
But what did you have to do with those killings, Emma?
On the night Prosecutor Neil Marshall was murdered, Joe Drake tried to kill me.
What? He tried to kill you?
Officer Marshall's brother, Neil, was the only trying to save me.
So that means you.
Yes, I was a witness in Joe Drake killing.
I didn't see that one coming.
It happened 2 years ago. It was right about this time of the year, too. There was a terrible thunderstorm that day, unusual for the season. I was alone in my sister's office. We were planning to eat dinner together when she finished her work. Then suddenly, this terrifying man came bursting into the office.
Joe Drake.
It seemed like he was running from someone. He pulled out a knife and screamed at me. I didn't know what was going on. Just then Prosecutor Marshall showed up.
Jake Marshall's brother.
Joe Drake tried to take me as hostage, but before he could, Marshall tackled him. Then...
What happened?
I'll never forget it. Lightning struck and the lights went out suddenly. A bolt of lightning flashed outside the window, up on the officer, lighting up the office for an instant. What I saw then was burned a permanent picture in my mind. I can still see it now.
Permanent picture?
I don't remember the moment when Drake stabbed Mr. Marshall, so...
So you weren't able to testify about that?
No, I was only asked when I was attacked.
That must be
why Lana... she made up the crime.
Made it up? You mean provided bogus evidence?
The prosecutor's office won that verdict so badly. Lana forged evidence, and Miles Edgeworth used it.
Edgeworth?
Yes, but I'm sure he didn't know anything about it. He couldn't have known he was being given false evidence. Even so, that's when it all started. The rumors about Mr. Edgeworth, I mean. It's all my fault. If I could have just testified properly, none of this would have happened.
So it's true. Even though that he may not have known it, Edgeworth really was involved in falsifying evidence.
After the case ended, Lana was never the same. She became cold like she is today.
Well, she not have been able to face up to what she did, especially not to Emma.
Was Marshall really the killer? Is that the weird twist of fate? Is that what we're gonna do instead? That'd be weird. Assuming he isn't the killer. Well, he was being chased by someone, though. Drake. So if he was being... Like, if the killer was being chased by Marshall, does that mean Marshall was the killer, and this guy was being framed for it? In the first place. But clearly his more Texan brother isn't a murderer. He just cut someone's hand. I don't think he murdered anyone. But that makes me think that Gant still is the murderer, because he's like the only one that could fill the role of a murderer here. But why though? in Chief Gant's case, he was able to, by doing that, a whole bunch of people lost their jobs as detective, and he got to become the chief of police instead of just the deputy chief. He went up a rank and got, you know, better pay and all that stuff. So it would work in his favor no matter what. He gets rid of people that couldn't say anything bad about him. And he gets a promotion along with it, while other people's reputations take a dive. It only benefited him. So that's the only reason I think it's Gant. It might not be him, of course. There could be someone else here. Emma could have somehow stabbed someone in the middle of the night, and for some reason she killed the brother or something stupid. I kind of doubt she's more involved than that, but they could try and pull something dumb like that. I feel like it wouldn't be her, but they might be like, you remembered it wrong. You were like Edgeworth. You just had a traumatic experience. Actually, it was all your fault. You killed him. Emma's too dumb for that. I don't know, maybe she picked up a knife and held it to her chest and someone fell on her. Who knows?
What did you see the instant the crime occurred?
Drake knocked down Mr. Marshall and raised his knife.
Neil Marshall was stabbed right in front of this poor girl.
I don't remember what happened after that. Apparently I passed out. When I came to, Lana was cradling me in her arms.
Poor Emma, you've been through so much. She fainted.
I couldn't bring myself to testify about that instance.
So, she would have been 14 years old when that happened? Yeah, I guess that would be pretty traumatic for a 14-year-old. I mean, it'd still probably be traumatic for a 16-year-old, but, you know.
I tried, but the words wouldn't come out. I just drew a picture, but it wasn't any good.
2 years ago, you must have been 14. That's understandable.
Once it was all over, I made up my mind. I decided that when I grew up, I would become a scientific investigator. I want to be able to fight crime with my testimonies, and find the evidence to make the airtight case.
Shouldn't you just say you should fight for the person who's actually innocent, rather than fight for a case? Because usually the police work for the prosecutors. Sometimes they're not fighting for justice.
That way, Lana would never have to forge any.
I see. I think I'm finally starting to understand what makes Emma tick. But there's still something that bothers me about that crime. There's something puzzling me, Emma.
What is it?
You said you were in Lana's office at the time, right?
That's right.
Why then would a serial killer come running in there? Not only that, but he was being chased by a prosecutor.
Oh, there's no mystery there. Joe Drake had been taken in for questioning that day.
Taken in for questioning? You mean by the police?
Of course. This happened at the police department. He tried to run away hallway through the interview and fled into my sister's office.
But why did he run all the way over to your sister's office?
Because the detective offices the questioning room are right across from the elevator.
Across from the elevator? But Lana was the chief prosecutor, wasn't she?
No, silly, didn't I tell you? 2 years ago, Lana was a detective. She was the best in the entire force.
What? That's news to me.
After the Joe Drake case, she was transferred to the prosecutor's office and made chief prosecutor.
Lana used to be a detective. I'd be better have another talk with her.
So wait, the only thing it benefited was Lana and Gant. That's interesting. But anyways, it's been 3 hours. I got some writing I need to do, so I'm gonna call it quits here. Probably, I keep going overtime lately, but I enjoy Phoenix Wright, so it's okay to go overtime for that. I think tomorrow I'll probably just play, like, No Man's Sky. I might also take a break. I know I have a 10,000 word story I need to finish tomorrow, so I might need the extra time. It depends. Usually I can finish those in like 5 hours, but I don't know. We'll see. Anyways, for anyone who dropped in, thank you guys for watching. Hope you all enjoyed and stuff like that. Was anyone streaming that I know? Usually no one streams at the times when I end, so I'm not sure. Sasha's still streaming, I think. Maybe she's not ending. Is she just ending? It says starting soon on her thing, I think. Okay, yeah, she's just starting soon. I'll send you guys that way. So, if you want to go say hey to her, and all that good stuff, and, yeah, peace out.